Backward classes, Dalits. Introduction. Dear students, we have studied about caste system and the modern trends in caste system in other subjects. Today, it is going to be an extension of what we have studied. We do know that the form of caste system is changing today, and we also have learned that caste is giving way to class system. But caste system is one form or others still exist in India. In papers, we read about reservation or quota system for backward classes and the agitation regarding it. One must have also seen in various forms, one has to specify if one is a backward class and also to provide proof of the same. So today, let us all learn more about this, analyze it and discuss it. Meaning and types of backward classes. All societies in the world have their own social stratification. They call the lower strata people as lowly. In Rome, they were called plebeians. The Britishers called them villains. In Egypt, they were known as slaves. Americans call them Negroes. In India, they were referred to as untouchables. They are referred to as the unprivileged section of the country. These unprivileged sections of India were later called backward classes. Hence, backward classes can be defined as a social category which consists of all socially, economically, politically backward castes, tribes and groups. This category of people is uneducated, poor, exploited by the upper class people. In India, backward classes are divided into 1. The scheduled caste, Harijans or Dalits. 2nd, the scheduled tribes. And 3rd, the other backward classes. Before we learn more about scheduled tribe or Dalits, let us first also learn briefly about the other two types of backward classes. The scheduled tribe. We have all heard about tribes and learned about them in our schools. We refer to them as the natives of that land who live in forests or secluded places away from the city people. They are still in the primitive stage. The term scheduled tribe was first used by the Simon Commission in 1928, and after India's independence, it was adopted by the Constitution for providing special facilities and to give constitutional protection. The Constitution listed a few tribal communities who are referred as scheduled tribes. The scheduled tribes are a collection of families having the same name, speak the same language, occupy the same territory, has a common culture and believe in worshipping nature. They are found in the northeastern states like Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. They are also found in central India like Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand and Orissa. In the south also, one can find tribes. Some of the tribes are Nagas, Garo, Khasi, Munda, Muthavan, etc. Tribals are found in almost all the states of country. Currently, there are between 258 and 540 scheduled tribe communities exist. The strength of these communities varies from 31 people of over 7 million Gonds. The quality of life of tribal people during pre-independence period was more deplorable, and their main occupation was hunting, gathering of wood and forest products and primitive shifting cultivation. Due to destruction of forests and non-availability of proper facilities, tribal were forced to lead a miserable life. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru tribal Panchshila policy of integration lays down that the tribals should be encouraged to follow their own traditional art, their right to land and forest to be respected. An attempt must be made to train and build up a team of their own people to work for their development. After independence, with the adoption of Indian Constitution in 1950, special attention was given to the upliftment of the tribal people under the Article 48. It was mandatory on the part of the state government to make all the efforts to improve economic, social and educational standard of the tribal people. Other backward classes. Other backward classes consist of nomads who have no fixed place of living, are agricultural laborers, artisans who have lost the value of their traditional occupation. This class also includes communities engaged in cattle rearing, sheep breeding. They are illiterate and have no secured representatives in government services. The scheduled caste. We know that in India, caste system is an integral part of the Hindu religion and philosophy. It was a type of social stratification where the people were divided according to their status and work. In the top of the ladder were Brahmins. Then we had Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the last were Shudras. These Shudras were considered untouchables and were considered impure by the people belonging to the higher society. They were called by many names during early years. For some time, they were referred to as the fifth group of Panchamas. During the Vedic period, they were known as Chandlas. It was later called Harijans, meaning the people of God by Mahatma Gandhi. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar coined the term Dalit to this group. It was only in the year 1950 when the Constitution of India referred to them as scheduled caste. The word scheduled means list, and hence a few castes who were inferior, others, and which required special attention were listed down. They all came to be known as scheduled castes. According to Dr. D.N. Majumdar, the term scheduled castes refer to the untouchables. The untouchable castes are those who suffer from various social and political disabilities, many of which are traditionally prescribed and socially enforced by higher castes. Some of the examples of scheduled castes is Chamar, Dhobi, Khattik and Mochi. They are the cobblers, washerman, person who deals with the skin of animals or butcher. Dalit is a designation for a group of people traditionally regarded as untouchables. Dalits are mixed population consisting of numerous social groups from all over India. They speak a variety of languages and practice a multitude of religions. There are many different names proposed for defining this group of people, including Panchamas, fifth Varna, and Aspuras and Aspurshya, untouchables. The word Dalit does not appear in any sacred scriptures or historical texts of India. It is actually a word based on 17th century European notions about the Indian caste system. The word is derived from Sanskrit and means ground, suppressed, crushed, or broken to pieces. It was first used by Jyotirao Phule in the 19th century in the context of the oppression faced by the erstwhile untouchable caste of the twice-born Hindus. Currently, many Dalits use the term to move away from the more derogatory terms of their caste's name or even the term untouchable. In the context of traditional Hindu society, Dalit status has often been historically associated with occupations regarded as ritually impure, such as any involving leatherwork, butchering, or removal of rubbish, animal carcasses, and waste. Dalits worked as manual laborers, cleaning streets, latrines, and sewers. Engaging in these activities was considered to be polluting to the individual, and this pollution was considered contagious. As a result, Dalits were commonly segregated and banned from all participation in Hindu social life. For example, they could not enter a temple or a school and were required to stay outside the village. Elaborate precautions were sometimes observed to prevent incidental contact between Dalits and other castes. Discrimination against Dalits still exists in rural areas in the private sphere. In everyday matters such as access to eating places, schools, temples, and water sources. In 2001, the proportion of Dalit population was 16.2% of India's total population. The Dalit population is broadly distributed across Indian states and districts. In 2001, the state of Punjab had the highest proportion of its population as Dalit at about 29%, and the state of Mizoram had the lowest at nearly 0. The Government of India recognizes and protects them as scheduled castes. The term Dalit has been interchangeably used with the term scheduled caste, and these terms include all historical discriminated communities of India, outcasts and untouchables. Dalits represent a community of 170 million in India. 1 out of every 6 Indian is Dalit. Yet due to their caste identity, Dalits regularly face discrimination and violence which prevent them from enjoying the basic human rights and dignity promised to all citizens of India. Problems of the scheduled caste. For centuries, untouchables or Dalits have been suffering from social, religion, political, educational, economic disabilities. Even today, they are not completely free from their century-old problem. The social restrictions and disabilities. The Harijans or the Dalits have suffered from many social disabilities. Some of them are, first, lowest status in the hierarchy. In the caste hierarchy, the Dalits were given the lowest strata or status. They were considered impure and inferior and were always looked down by the other upper caste people. Their touch or presence was not tolerated as it was considered as polluting the upper caste people. It was so rigid that in Kerala, a distance was fixed for them to keep between him and upper caste. If possible, he was supposed to move away when he came face to face with them. Second, education disability. They were forbidden to take education. No schools and no educational institution were used to take them. Hence, they were uneducated and ignorant about many things that were happening around them. In modern times also, majority of them are illiterate, even though they can join schools and colleges. Third, civic disabilities. They were for a very long time not allowed to use any civic facilities such as use of public places, schools, hospitals, ponds, temples, etc. They were also not allowed to live near other people. They had to live on the outskirts of the villages and cities which are prevalent even now. They were not allowed inside homes. They could not work as laborers. They were not allowed to wear slippers, cover their upper body, and not allowed to use umbrellas. Religious disability. They were not allowed to enter the temples. The Brahmins would not do any religious rituals for them. They were denied access to the chants and were not allowed to chant them. Economic disabilities. The Dalits were economically very backward and suffered many economic disabilities. They have been considered the poorest people. Since the caste system imposed restrictions on their occupational choice, they had very less option. They could not take the works of the upper caste people. Hence, they were forced to do inferior jobs like removing human waste, sweeping, scavenging, carrying dead animals. In other words, they had to do all the inferior works in the society which the upper caste people would not do. They were also denied land ownership. They were always living and doing agriculture on lands owned by the high caste people. Hence, they were always at the mercy of upper caste people. They were always at debt and it kept increasing day by day. Even today, they are the lowest paid workers. They are always at debt because they are illiterate and hence don't know how much they have paid back. The upper caste people exploit them in this manner and always keep them bonded with them. Political disabilities. For centuries, Dalits hardly participated in political matters. They were denied in politics, administration, and general governance of the country. Under the British rule, they were allowed to vote for the first time. After India's independence, equal political opportunities and rights have been provided. K.R. Narayanan became the first person from a Dalit to become the President of India. Cultural disabilities. Since the scheduled castes were illiterate, it generated a lot of superstition and ignorance. Superstition had a hand in their individual and social life. A half-educated people from them also cheated and exploited them. Their superstitious belief made them tolerate the atrocities. Most of them got carried away from other religious propaganda and converted themselves. They became either Muslims or Christians. After the conversion, they realized that they could not be absorbed easily and they still remain poor and not treated equal. Health disabilities. For centuries, the scheduled castes were living in unhygienic conditions and drinking impure water. This led to them becoming victims of contagious diseases like malaria, cholera. Since they were undereducated, they were not aware of the symptoms of the diseases and resorted to religious rituals to ward it off. They were also not allowed medical attention from the hospitals, which made them suffer. Now that has gone because of many welfare measures taken by the government. Role of Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhiji for the welfare of Dalits. Role of Dr. Ambedkar, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was a modern social human advocate and a humanist. He was born as a Dalit and took to promote the welfare of his community and to bring status to them. He was a highly educated person who took the initiative to talk on the behalf of Dalits. Ambedkar took many reform works to uplift the Dalit community. He also fought against the injustice done to the Dalit community by establishing organizations. First of all, Dr. Ambedkar scientifically studied the problems, origin of his community. He then made it his goal in life to work for the upliftment of his community. He wanted to stop the practice of untouchability and wanted the community to move towards socio-economic equality and justice. He wanted to instill in the minds of Dalits the idea of self-respect, self-confidence, and self-dignity. Hence, he established an institution called Bahishkrita Hitakrani Sabha. Dr. Ambedkar wanted the Dalits to follow some principles in life and called them Pancha Sutras. They were first, self-improvement. He wanted them to make efforts for one's own improvement without waiting for others to help them. Second, self-progress, taking the initiative to make progress in their life. Third, self-dependence. He wanted them to be self-reliant and not dependent on others. Fourth, self-confidence. He wanted them to have confidence on themselves, their capacities and capabilities. Fifth, self-respect. Dr. Ambedkar wanted them to have respect on themselves and not to sacrifice it for anybody. He also called for changing their style of life in accordance to the changing time. Dr. Ambedkar also wanted the Dalit community to educate themselves, and hence he took the initiative through his organization Bahishkrita Hitakrani Sabha, Depressed Classes Education Society. He also organized agitations to reach his goal. He used his political power to achieve protection to the Dalits, as he played an important role in the framing of the constitution. Role of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi played a major role in uplifting of the untouchables. He popularized the word Harijan, meaning God's own people. He made it his mission to remove untouchability and uplift them. Gandhiji wanted to bring about a change in the caste structure by abolishing the caste and by uplifting the untouchables. He appealed to the conscience of the people for the uplifting of the Dalits and to give equal status to them in status. Gandhiji staged campaign against untouchables. He took out processions with the Dalits and with other upper caste people and made them participate in pujas, bhajans, etc. He also launched movements to clean the residential areas of the Dalits and also dug up wells. He also appealed to the Hindus to keep the temple open for the Dalits also. Gandhiji also wrote against the practice of untouchability in two journals, namely Young India and Harijan. Gandhiji advocated equal education and intermingling of Harijans along with other students. He also fought against many legal protections against all kinds of injustice. He also appealed to his Congress candidates to pledge towards the removal of untouchability. Measures to solve the problems of scheduled castes. The Government of India has made provisions in its constitution for the removal of untouchability and to promote the welfare of the scheduled castes. Some of them are: first, the preamble of the Constitution of India states that all are equal and promotes fraternity, ensures justice to all, and guarantees liberty. Second, some articles guarantee that the state will not show discrimination on the grounds of religion, caste, class, or region. Third, Article 46 promotes educational and economic interest of scheduled castes. Fourth, Article 334 relates to reservation of seats. Fifth, the Untouchability Offence Act. The Untouchability Offence Act 1955 or the Prevention of Civil Rights Act 1976 states that no one has the right to prevent a person on the ground of untouchability from entering a place of worship, from drinking water from a public well or tap, or by denying access to public hospitals, schools, or colleges. Other welfare measures and programs appointed of a National Commission for the Welfare of Scheduled Caste. A commission has been set by the central government to safeguard the interests of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. It functions as an advisory body on issues and policies related to the development of scheduled castes and tribes. First, educational opportunities. Attention is being paid to the extend educational opportunities to them. Provisions are being made, free educations, free books, uniform, providing free meals, reserving seats for them in government schools, in all government-aided institutions. Providing hostels, scholarships and financial assistance are again some of the measures taken to provide education to all. Second, expansion of economic opportunities. The government has taken economic programs for their benefit. Landless laborers are provided with lands. Poor farmers are supplied with food, quality seeds, fertilizers, agriculture machines, interest-free loans, etc. Providing loans for starting small-scale industries like toy making, basket making, shoe making, etc. Third, expansion of employment opportunities and reservation. To make them equally stable, to make them economically stable, and to elevate their economic positions, the government has made provisions for reserving jobs for them. Certain concessions are also provided like relaxation on qualification and experience or getting jobs. Fourth, uplifting of scheduled caste through 5-year plans. In these plans, welfare of the scheduled caste have been given importance. There are different schemes under this which will help the scheduled caste to improve their income, assist in loans, and to see that majority of the people are above poverty line. Welfare programs. First, facility for drinking water by constructing wells and bore wells. Second, free medical checkup facility, give financial assistance for operation and medicines. Third, construction of houses for them. Fourth, many bonded laborers have been liberated. Fifth, Sulabh Shauchalay scheme, by which the dry toilets are converted to waterborne ones in order to liberate the scavengers and rehabilitate them. Evaluation of the welfare schemes. In spite of the various welfare schemes taken by the government, it is still has not helped much in the uplifting of the Dalits. The scheduled castes are trying to change themselves according to the upper caste people, but no one can see that they haven't really gained much. Their social movement upwards is very limited. They continue to be socially and economically weak. In spite of all the efforts taken to educate them, the majority of scheduled castes are illiterate and ignorant. The benefits of the welfare programs have not been availed properly by them. Only a few have availed them and are doing well in the society. These availed people are also not trying to help their community by making them aware of the benefits. The crime rates against the scheduled castes are still there. The scheduled castes are found in rural areas more than urban areas. Some of are still bonded laborers. They also suffer from an inferiority complex which is so highly ingrained in them that they refuse to push out of it and consider it their fate to be born as a Dalit. It is important that as our country develops economically, technologically, and in other dimensions, we need to put our efforts in bringing a society where all are equal.